Hello and welcome to day 12 of 16 Days of Activism, Violence Against Women by Life Support. Life Support is a new national UK survivor network set up by myself, Alice Smith. I'm looking a bit tired now from these videos, and Tina Makeda, who's been doing some great videos. Please check them out on www.goddess.co.uk for the full range. She's been giving some great advice. And today it's my turn, and I want to talk about domestic abuse and Christmas. So there's a big Christmas campaign by Refuge at the moment, which is highlighting the fact that domestic abuse happens at Christmas. Big surprise, of course it does. And also you might be interested to know that the Queen's speech is going to be telling you about the domestic abuse bill. It's been dropped thanks to Boris, but it's still in there, and the Queen is going to pledge for that to continue. I don't know where the money's going to come from, and seeing as it's election time, you might very well want to ask your candidates for the general election how they stand, whether they're supporting that domestic abuse bill, and of course they're going to say yes, but exactly how. So why does domestic abuse spike and peak at Christmas time? There's lots of reasons. One, alcohol. There's a lot of alcohol being pushed by supermarkets. Everywhere you look, there's alcohol in the fruit and veg aisle. I'm a recovering alcoholic. What are you trying to do to me? There's alcohol crisps. There's alcohol air freshener. Why? Why, God? So there's a lot of people drinking a lot more alcohol. So just like it was in the World Cup final, the men are drinking and they're beating up on the women afterwards. I can't put it any more simpler than that. 2, children. Abusers use children as pawns, and we want our children to be happy on Christmas Day, and it's an ideal time for an abuser to absolutely shit on the party and spoil it. It happened to me a lot, leaving a bad smell and leaving childhood traumas for your children to pick up and remember for the rest of their lives. So there's this idea of like, let's spoil the party that the abuser loves. 3, you got a lot more time together. It's obvious really, but it's a holiday. You're all under each other's feet. If you're living with someone with a very short temper, off they go because you didn't put the lid on the bin, or you didn't put the matches back in the box. Well, it could be anything, any tiny thing, and up they go, and violence ensues, or verbal abuse ensues, which is just as valid and bad as physical abuse. 4, money. Lack of money or money issues around Christmas. It's all about money these days, which is one of the reasons I don't really get involved in it. And arguments about money can quickly escalate, especially if drink's involved. And 5, I can't read my own writing, so who knows what 5 is? We'll never know. But yeah, I would just like to say that it's great that there are campaigns to say domestic abuse spikes. The Queen is mentioning it, but I, as a survivor with Life Support now, this network, we're going to be creating a network next year that we want you to join, where we're actually going to be having a say next Christmas on this, because it's a bit like a badge that people wear, and famous people get behind it and say, oh yes, here's the domestic abuse campaign, Paloma Faith thinks this is fantastic. So what? What about real survivors? What about real women living in it? We don't need to be told that domestic abuse happens at Christmas. We know. Life Support is going to be talking about spotting the signs and what can we do. So there's a national helpline here that to call, 0808 2000 247 from Refuge. You can call it in an emergency, and I'll put the link in the bio. But as I've found, and I'm sure many of you found, just calling a helpline is not enough. The same when you call the police. What happens when the police leave? What happens when you put down the phone from the helpline? So I'm not dissing it. It's great that society recognises it, but just to be aware, and Life Support's going to be pointing out that this goes on every single day, 24/7, not just at Christmas. So I like to think of this phrase that I had a while back: a wife is for life, not just for Christmas. And we're going to be thinking about some deeper levels than this knee-jerk reaction to something you'll see by James Corden, big deal, something on Sky TV, something on adverts. We're going to be thinking of a different, deeper way of talking to society about what happens every single day of the year. So bye for now. I'm going to put my thinking cap on.